To protect the reputation of his junior colleague who had stolen academic research, my girlfriend, who was also a judge in the field, publicly threw the blame onto me. "Ethan's young," she pleaded. "He just got carried away by ambition and made a mistake. If the truth comes out, his future will be ruined. You've been successful in the industry for years. This bit of negative press won't affect you much. Once this blows over, I'll marry you, okay?" Because of her accusations, I became a reviled academic thief, while the junior colleague was painted as a representative of integrity among newcomers. But she forgot something crucial. The lab's surveillance system recorded the entire theft. Once that footage surfaced, she and her junior would face a massive public backlash and severe legal consequences. Chapter 1. The real culprit behind the theft is Sincere Clark. On the interview stage, Victoria Ashton, my girlfriend of 10 years, publicly accused me of stealing someone else's academic work. Instantly, a torrent of insults washed over me. Standing below the stage, I felt utterly frozen, as if plunged into an icy abyss. 3 days ago, research results were stolen from the lab. It was Victoria's junior colleague, Ethan Miller, who did it. But to protect him, Victoria shifted the blame onto me and bribed the only witness. Overnight, I went from being a young, brilliant, expert professor to a despised academic thief. And the real thief remained carefully shielded behind the scenes by her. Suppressing the sharp pain in my heart, I tried to leave, but someone in the crowd grabbed my arm and forcibly pulled me onto the stage. "Professor Clark, are you here to apologize out of guilt? Truly worthy of being the country's youngest and most outstanding professor. Even after stealing someone else's work, you have the guts to admit it." Ethan grandly took the microphone, addressing me with a smirk playing on his lips. His words immediately incited even angrier shouts and curses from the crowd below. Victoria looked surprised to see Ethan appear and instinctively shot me a warning glance. Then she continued, "Please be quiet. Sincere feels deeply sorry for this mistake, especially since it was discovered by his student, my junior colleague Ethan Miller. It took a lot of convincing, but he finally found the courage to stand up and apologize. Ethan, on Sincere's behalf, thank you for your advice, for pulling him back from the brink." Ethan smiled humbly, magnanimously replying, "You're too kind, Victoria. Professor Clark is my teacher, after all. Although I'm his junior, I couldn't just watch him continue down the wrong path." The two sang in chorus, painting Ethan as a great champion of justice, and I became the despicable villain they described, the one who stole others' work. Pain mixed with anger made it hard to breathe. I desperately wanted to blurt out the truth and confront them. Suddenly, an egg flew up from the crowd and smashed on my head. Splat, the yolk dripped down through my hair. Victoria jumped, instinctively moving towards me. But then someone else threw vegetable leaves, pelting me harshly. "Victoria, it hurts, Victoria," Ethan whined theatrically. Victoria immediately forgot about me and rushed to check on him. As more objects rained down, the crowd surged forward, rushing towards me engulfed in fury. "You call yourself a professor, you academic thief. Are you worthy? You beast in fine clothes, go to hell." Before I could react, I was pushed down. And then came a flood of blows and curses. My glasses were smashed, my forehead started bleeding, and I was kicked countless times. It wasn't until security called the police that the crowd finally dispersed. Staff members led me to the infirmary. Seeing my battered state, Victoria gasped, her eyes filled with guilt and pity. "Sincere, how are you? I'm sorry, I truly never thought they'd attack you." Her voice was earnest and pained as she reached for my hand. "Don't worry, once this blows over, we'll definitely get married. Just endure it a little longer. Soon, very soon, this will pass and both Ethan and I will thank you." I coldly shook her hand off. Her hypocritical display only disgusted me. On stage, she had accused me of theft with such righteousness. When the crowd attacked me, she and Ethan had kept their distance. Why the fake concern now? I didn't respond, didn't even look at her, simply got up and walked out of the infirmary. Back home, I arranged for a friend to find me a new place to live. I planned to move out in 3 days. Just after I finished making these arrangements, Victoria came home. She had uncharacteristically bought me a watch, offering it with an apologetic smile, sincere, "See if you like it?" I glanced at it sideways. Didn't move. Victoria bit her lip, sat down beside me and said plaintively, "I'm sorry, I just wanted you to take the fall for Ethan. I honestly didn't expect those people to get violent. They really overreacted. It's just theft, right? It's not like murder or arson." Listening to her rambling, I couldn't help remembering how she used to be when we first met. Back then, Victoria was incredibly conscientious and hated anyone who disrespected science. Her own work had been stolen once, so she loathed such acts. But I never expected her to be so forgiving when the wrongdoer was Ethan. Perhaps that's love. "Sincere, say something. Are you really angry with me?" Victoria nudged me playfully. I recoiled in disgust and said coldly, "Victoria, I never agreed to any of this from the beginning. You've gone this far for Ethan. I just hope you can bear the consequences." The next moment, Victoria shot up, her face instantly darkening. "Sincere, Clark, haven't you sulked enough? What's done is done, and nobody can prove you're innocent now. I've tried to coax you nicely, and you're still acting out?" Ungrateful with that, she stormed back to her room, slamming the door violently. Soon the living room fell quiet. I could clearly hear my own breathing, and the sound of my heart spasming deep inside. Suddenly, Victoria's gentle voice came from the bedroom. "Ethan, don't worry. Everything's pinned on Sincere Clark now. Just focus on your work from now on, and don't make any more mistakes, okay?" "Thanks, Victoria. You're so gentle and kind. I wish you were my girlfriend." Hearing their intimate laughter sent a chill through my heart, but I didn't feel anger. They probably didn't know yet that the lab's surveillance system had recorded Ethan's entire theft, and the footage would be recovered within 3 days at most. When the truth came out then, neither of them would escape the law. Chapter 2. The next morning, Victoria was already gone. As usual, I was heading out for work. But as soon as I opened the door, I was startled by a shocking sight. A pool of red paint looking like blood lay on the floor. Long white funeral banners were strung across the doorway, and graffiti cursed me, academic thief, condemned by all. Hearing angry shouts from the hallway, I quickly retreated inside and shut the door. A nagging suspicion arose. What exactly was going on? Soon, Mr. Harrison, my superior at the lab, called me sincere due to the academic theft allegations. "The Institute has suspended your work for the time being. Are you all right?" Remembering the scene at my door, I didn't know how to answer. Mr. Harrison continued, "I don't know what Victoria's thinking. You're going through such a major ordeal, yet instead of supporting you, her boyfriend, she's off doing another interview with Ethan Miller. This is just adding fuel to the fire." "What interview?" I asked, confused. Soon, Mr. Harrison sent me a link to a live news feed. Clicking on it, I saw Victoria and Ethan standing before the cameras, elaborating on the supposed details of my theft. The more details they provided, the more credible their story seemed to the public and netizens. Even worse, while answering a reporter's question, Victoria accidentally leaked our home address. In that moment, I realized they could find me thanks entirely to Victoria. On camera, they held hands, wearing matching outfits, jointly recounting how lazy and unprofessional I supposedly was during experiments, effectively crucifying me publicly, determined to ensure I could never recover. I couldn't help recalling the past. Every time I won an award or published an influential academic paper and gave interviews, I always brought Victoria along. Because Victoria was an industry referee, bringing her increased her visibility and gave her more influence in the field. But now, after I had lifted her up, she chose someone else to stand beside her. I felt increasingly that my years of genuine affection had been completely wasted, making me feel both ridiculous and pathetic. Stuck at home, unable to go out, I started packing my things to leave, sorting through old mementos from my 10 years with Victoria. There were the origami cranes she folded when she confessed her feelings for me, and the specimen gift I made for her first birthday with me. Everything held memories of our youth and love. Now it was all just outdated, useless junk. I found a brazier and set everything ablaze. Watching the flames slowly consume it all, I felt no ripple of emotion inside. Just then, Victoria pushed the door open. Seeing the scene, she screamed and rushed over. "Sincere, what are you doing?" Chapter 3. Heartbroken, Victoria extinguished the fire, managing to salvage some of the old items. She looked at me, her face etched with helplessness. "Sincere, what on earth are you doing? I know you're angry, but you can't vent your frustration on our past. I had the paint and banners outside cleaned up already. Don't let it get to you. Just rest well at home for these few days. Once this storm passes, our life will go back to how it was before." Victoria spoke lightly, as if enduring these pressures was no big deal. She stood up, pointed to the groceries she'd brought back, and smiled. "Tonight, I'll cook personally to drive away the bad luck for you. I'll go change first." I watched her walk to the coat rack. It was just a simple act of hanging her coat, yet she lingered there for quite a while. Glancing over, I saw Victoria's hand reaching into the pocket of my work coat hanging on the rack, fumbling for something. Quickly, she slipped something into her own pocket. A suspicion sparked in me. During dinner, she casually mentioned, "Ethan has a competition tomorrow. It's getting a lot of attention. If he wins, can we invite him over to celebrate?" In that instant, I had a sinking feeling I knew what was happening. After dinner, Victoria said she had something to attend to at work and hurried out. When I went to check the pocket of that coat, I found, just as I suspected, my lab key was gone. Ethan's competition was tomorrow, and my lab contained nearly completed experimental results. It seemed Victoria had deliberately stolen my work so Ethan could win his competition tomorrow. But I didn't plan to stop her. All my research findings had long been registered with the authorities. Any unauthorized use would inevitably be flagged. Victoria didn't come home that night. The next day, she went straight to the science competition with Ethan and even posted a photo of them together on her social media. The caption read, "Go Ethan, you're the best in my heart below." There were many likes and well wishes. Someone even stirred the pot. "Victoria, hurry up and dump that academic thief. Get together with the handsome junior colleague." Yeah, the junior colleague is young, handsome, and so smart. Much better than that unethical beast. Sincere Clark. Victoria simply responded with a hand-over-mouth giggle emoji, offering not a single word in my defense. That afternoon, my friend confirmed the new place was secured. I put on a mask and hat, grabbed my suitcase, and was about to leave. But just as I opened the door, I saw Victoria arriving, arm in arm with Ethan. Seeing me, Victoria instinctively withdrew her hand, forcing an awkward smile. "Sincere, are you going?" As she spoke, she noticed the suitcase behind me, and her smile froze. "What are you doing?" I said calmly. "Exactly what it looks like, Victoria. Let's break up." Chapter 4. Victoria's brow furrowed. After a long silence, she said, "Just because I wasn't home for 2 days, you're going to run away from home? When Sincere Clark, are you getting more childish as you get older? Since I told you I was with Ethan at the competition. He won. I specifically brought him back so we could celebrate together." Her expression was one of sheer exasperation as she gestured for Ethan to come inside with her. Ethan looked at me, an apologetic expression on his face. "Professor Clark, are you still holding that incident against me? I'm truly sorry. It was a moment of foolishness on my part that made you take the blame for me. But what's done is done, and I really don't know how to make it up to you. How about this? Hit me. Go on, hit me." I had absolutely no desire to waste any more time on these two. Ignoring Ethan's manipulative act and not wanting to engage further, I gripped my suitcase handle, ready to head for the door. Seeing this, Victoria's face turned even colder. "Sincere Clark, Ethan has apologized to you. Enough is enough. The worst of the rumors has passed. Ethan just won the championship. These are things worth celebrating. Don't spoil the mood." She walked up beside me, lowering her voice as she spoke. "I will keep my promise. Tomorrow, we'll go get our marriage license. The wedding. You can start planning it. Now, are you satisfied?" Victoria tilted her chin up, clearly expecting my agreement. I, however, just gave a sarcastic smirk. She still believed she had everything under control, but cruel reality would soon teach her a lesson. "No need," I stated calmly and turned to leave. Victoria instantly flew into a rage born of shame and anger, pointing at me furiously. "Sincere Clark, that's enough. You insist on being difficult, right? Fine, get out, and don't ever come back with that." She snatched my suitcase, angrily yanked open the door, and was about to throw it out. Suddenly, a large crowd of reporters appeared outside the door, cameras poised. Seeing her emerge, they rushed forward to interview her. "Ms. Ashton, regarding the online reports exposing Ethan Miller as the thief, do you have any response?" Yes, it was clearly Ethan Miller who was the thief. Why did you push Professor Clark forward to take the blame? Do you perhaps have an improper relationship with Ethan Miller, leading you to deliberately frame Professor Clark? The barrage of questions left Victoria completely stunned. After recovering slightly, she stammered, "What nonsense are you talking about? The thief wasn't Ethan, it was—" As she spoke, a reporter suddenly held up the lab surveillance video that had gone viral online, right in front of her face. Ethan, drawn by the commotion, arrived just in time to witness this scene. The surveillance footage clearly showed Ethan's face, capturing his every move as he carefully committed the theft and slipped away. At the same time, the sound of police sirens wailed outside, seemingly having arrived downstairs. Instantly, Ethan's face went deathly pale. Victoria was even more shocked, stumbling back several steps until she hit the door, rendered speechless for a long moment. Chapter 5. The reporter's questioning grew increasingly intense. Victoria's face was ghastly pale, her expression shifting rapidly several times before she managed to steady herself and hastily explain, "This video must be fake. Someone must have photoshopped Ethan's face onto it. Don't believe it." "If you don't believe me, ask Sincere Clark. He's the one who committed the theft." Saying this, she looked at me imploringly. Her eyes were filled with desperation and pleading, brimming with tears, her voice trembling slightly. I, however, stated calmly, "I never admitted to anything." This statement immediately provided the reporters with explosive information. They excitedly pressed further, "Professor Clark, are you implying that Victoria and Ethan framed you? Did Victoria privately pressure you to confess to this act of theft that you didn't commit? Professor Clark, please answer." I didn't intend to elaborate further with these reporters. I knew that the law would soon clear my name, facts speak louder than words. But my words had thrown Victoria into a complete panic. She stared at me in disbelief, as if she hadn't expected that I would actually refuse to cover for her. "Sincere, you're lying. You already admitted it. You clearly—" She spoke frantically, but the reporters again asked her for an explanation regarding the surveillance footage. Victoria tried several times to retreat back inside, but was held back firmly by the reporters. Meanwhile, Ethan, standing beside her, became the primary target, with countless cameras fixed squarely on him. The two of them were panic-stricken, exchanging glances. That scene strangely resembled a devoted young couple facing an external onslaught. "Ethan, please respond. Is that you in the surveillance video? Why did you enter the lab to steal the research? And why did you slander your mentor, Professor Clark?" Ethan turned paler under the barrage of questions. After a long pause, he finally summoned the courage to speak. "Yes, it was all me. Don't hassle Victoria, direct everything at me. She's innocent," this declaration surprisingly earned him a sliver of respect from those present. It even moved Victoria to tears of gratitude. Watching her reaction, the pain in my heart was long gone, replaced only by a sense of the absurd. It seemed Victoria had fallen in love with Ethan long ago. Pitiful me, still getting jealous and upset during that time, feeling heartbroken and pained like a fool. Soon the police arrived, dispersed the reporters. They took both Victoria and Ethan back to the station to further investigate the matter. When Victoria had initially accused me of being the thief, There was no concrete evidence, so it hadn't escalated to a legal issue. But now that the surveillance video had surfaced and the university had filed a police report, they had to cooperate with the investigation. Finally, peace and quiet. I dragged my suitcase to the house I had bought previously. I had originally bought it intended as a marital home for Victoria and me. But when Victoria's job transferred to another area, I chose to live with her to support and take care of her, never moving into this house, tirelessly giving my efforts. Now I was finally free. Once I reached the house, I received a call from my workplace, informing me to return to work as usual the next day. Victoria and Ethan were currently under investigation, but the truth was already quite clear. Once the police confirmed the facts, Victoria and Ethan would face an overwhelming storm of public criticism. Of course, it was already causing a huge stir online. I didn't dwell on it too much. After unpacking my luggage, I was about to lie down and rest when I suddenly received a call from my sister Catherine. Chapter 6. Sincere, what happened between you and Victoria? Why was she recently calling you a thief, but now the internet is exposing her junior colleague Ethan as the real culprit? Everyone's saying Victoria framed you. What exactly happened? My sister Catherine asked with concern. She was the one who had initially introduced me to Victoria, and her greatest wish was for us to be happy together. Unfortunately, I had let her down. We broke up. With those 3 words, my sister seemed to understand. She was silent for a moment before saying, "It seems the rumors online are true then." Sincere, it was my mistake back then for not seeing her true character. Don't worry, I'll introduce you to someone better in the future. For now, just get some rest. Hearing my sister hang up, I knew she was probably going to call Victoria to ask her directly. Regarding this relationship, I don't harbor hatred towards anyone. Human hearts are inherently fickle. Cherishing the present moment is enough. I woke up to find it was already dark. I checked my phone, dozens of missed calls and messages. Opening them, I saw the online discussion about the theft incident was still escalating. What surprised me most was that after Victoria was released from the police station, she continued to spread malicious rumors about me online, even starting a live stream. I hope everyone can trust Ethan and give him a chance. He has worked incredibly hard for his career all these years, dreaming of getting the recognition he deserves. But Sincere Clark, as his professor, never truly considered his needs or supported him. That's why Ethan momentarily lost his way and made this mistake. Victoria pleaded earnestly into the camera during the live stream. Even if Ethan did wrong, doesn't Sincere Clark, as his professor, bear some responsibility? I am Sincere Clark's girlfriend, and I assure you, he is not the victim everyone claims he is. The truth of the matter is often different from public perception. Listening to her slander me once again to shield Ethan, my heart felt not anger or pain, but a profound sense of desolation and absurdity. 10 years of relationship. Even if you raise a dog for that long, you should show some loyalty based on old ties. But Victoria, time and again, trampled me underfoot. Did she truly believe I wouldn't fight back? Before I even began to act, someone had already struck back on my behalf. Overnight, the surveillance footage of Ethan's theft spread like wildfire online, hitting the top trending lists. Eager netizens even dug up Ethan's academic records from his student days. Many former classmates came forward online, stating that Ethan frequently skipped school. There were claims that Ethan's college entrance exam scores were obtained through questionable means. What shocked me most was that they even unearthed photos of Ethan and Victoria meeting secretly, going on dates. Looking at the dates on the photos, hazy memories suddenly surfaced. 3 years ago, I had the flu, suffering from fever and vomiting at home. Victoria, who was supposed to be taking care of me, abruptly left after receiving a phone call. I nearly died that time. When Victoria returned, she merely said she had some family matters to attend to. Now I knew the truth. She had gone traveling abroad with Ethan. Not only that, but every year she would find time, making excuses to go on trips alone with Ethan. There they were on beaches, in foreign countries, amidst vast mountains. across green pastures embracing passionately, hand in hand, inseparable, like a couple deeply in love. These incidents, one after another, gradually sharpened my once blurred memories. Only now did I truly understand why Victoria was willing to let me carry the blame, why she was so determined to protect Ethan. It was because she had fallen in love with him. The next morning I went to work as usual. The bruises on my face had mostly faded. Many colleagues greeted me, asking about my recent situation with concern. After all, experiencing such severe online harassment takes a toll, both physically and emotionally. They had felt from the beginning that it couldn't have been me. Now that the truth was out, they were willing to talk to me. As I was chatting with colleagues, I suddenly heard the familiar click-clack of high heels. Sincere Clark. Chapter 7. Victoria stood not far away, her face cold. Seeing her, the surrounding colleagues quickly dispersed, clearly wanting no involvement. She slowly approached, her eyes filled with disappointment, her voice icy cold. "I never thought you were this kind of person." "I only said those things to salvage Ethan's reputation, and you actually hired someone to investigate me? You're despicable now. Ethan is being harassed online so badly he's on the verge of depression. Are you even human?" She gritted her teeth, glaring at me with resentment. I knew, of course, that my sister Catherine had done this to get back at Victoria for me, seeking revenge. But I didn't see anything wrong with it. There's no rule in this world that says you just have to let people bully you and can't fight back, Victoria. I should be the one asking you that question. After all the shady things you and Ethan did behind my back, how do you have the nerve to question me? Seeing that I was no longer maintaining my usual polite demeanor, Victoria shot me an embarrassed glare. Ethan and I didn't do anything inappropriate. He was just under a lot of stress, so I accompanied him on trips to relax. That's all. Even now, she was still so self-righteous. I was momentarily speechless. Victoria looked at me angrily, sincere. "I know I wronged you in this matter, but what you did to Ethan is far worse than what I did. You're too cruel, destroying everything for Ethan. That's what satisfies you." Right, I didn't want to waste time arguing this nonsense with her, so I turned to leave. But Victoria declared forcefully behind me, "Sincere Clark, I hate you no matter what you do. I will protect Ethan for the rest of my life," I scoffed internally. Such deep affection, truly touching. Too bad it was all so sordid and couldn't see the light of day. That afternoon, a crowd of media reporters inexplicably surrounded the workplace, causing quite a stir among colleagues. When I went out with a few co-workers to see what was happening, we discovered Victoria was actually giving an interview. Even Ethan, who had been hiding away, was unusually present. The reporters first asked a few questions about the theft incident, then turned their focus squarely on Ethan for stealing his professor's girlfriend, conspiring with Victoria in the theft, and framing his mentor. The crowd hurled ugly insults, especially those who had previously participated in harassing me online. Realizing they had been deceived, their animosity towards Ethan intensified. If security hadn't been holding them back, they probably would have resorted to violence. "Please everyone, stop shouting. Please stop. We admit all the mistakes. We just hope you can give Ethan a chance. It wasn't easy for him to get where he is today. And actually, his abilities are outstanding. Anyone who followed the recent science competition knows that Ethan just won the championship. He proved his capabilities." Victoria pleaded earnestly at the forefront, protectively shielding a distraught Ethan behind her, like a mother protecting her son. The media then launched a ruthless critique of Victoria. Someone in the crowd even shouted that she was a shameless bitch. She didn't resist. When reporters forcefully demanded that Ethan speak, his first words were, "I accept everyone's criticism directed at me, but all of this. Victoria forced me to do it." Chapter 8. His words caused an immediate uproar. Not only were the reporters stunned by his sudden betrayal, but even Victoria stared at him, utterly dumbfounded. "Well, what did you say?" Ethan ignored her, turning to the cameras with a pained expression. After Victoria got together with Professor Clark, she kept arranging to meet me privately. She often used the professor's authority to pressure me, even forced me to steal academic research results, just so she could frame the professor and completely ruin Professor Clark. I was just a pawn from the very beginning. Despite his claims, some suspected he was merely shifting the blame. Victoria clutched her chest in anguish, her voice trembling too much to form words. "You're lying. You're lying." Ethan then added gravely, "I know none of you believe me right now, but you all know I won the competition yesterday, right? I'm sorry to say that work wasn't mine either. It belonged to Professor Sincere Clark. It was research results from Professor Clark's lab. Victoria stole the lab key and gave the results to me to use in the competition. If it weren't for Victoria, how could I possibly have obtained Professor Clark's research?" This statement prompted agreement from the reporters present. Ethan is right. His win in that competition seems suspicious. The organizers have already confirmed that the work was Professor Clark's officially registered research. He competed using Professor Clark's work. Who would have thought? You guard against threats from outside, but the thief is inside your own house, this woman, Victoria, attacking Professor Clark again and again for Ethan's sake. How? Despicable. You don't deserve to be a woman, bitch, you shameless creature. Everyone turned their venom towards Victoria, tearing her apart verbally until she was figuratively shredded. Ethan, the actual instigator, once again managed to fade perfectly into the background. Victoria's actions involved not just breaches of professional ethics, but also transgressions in relationships and morality. Both within the industry and among the general public, everyone now recognized Victoria's face, associated with scandal. Victoria sobbed uncontrollably, then, like a madwoman, lunged towards Ethan, trying to attack him. "Why are you doing this to me? Why, Ethan, I did everything for you. For you." Ethan violently shoved her to the ground and even spat near her. "An old hag like you? Did I need your help using these underhanded tactics?" Victoria's face streamed with tears, filled with resentment, anger, her self-esteem utterly shattered. She collapsed heavily onto the ground, her knee scraped and bleeding. Ethan merely watched her coldly. "Animal, you're an animal," Victoria screamed in agony. Ethan sneered. "Victoria, you were with Sincere Clark for 10 years, yet you could still bring yourself to destroy his reputation built over so many years. You think you're any better?" This dog-eat-dog drama quickly went viral online. I watched the whole scene unfold clearly from the sidelines. Victoria had always been proud, spoiled, and pampered by me during our relationship. She had never endured such a torrent of curses and public humiliation. She completely broke down, screaming like a lunatic. Why? Why did things turn out like this? Sincere. I didn't stay to watch the rest. I knew that after this, Victoria's reputation was ruined beyond repair. There was no coming back for her. Chapter 9. The next day I received official notice from my workplace. Both Victoria and Ethan had been fired. Victoria's professional license was permanently revoked. She became the subject of constant gossip among all my colleagues. Anyone who heard the story would sigh and remark, "Professor Clark was always so good to her, yet she didn't know how to cherish it." And Victoria disappeared for a week. The next time I saw her was when I returned home from work. She was sitting by my doorstep waiting for me. The scene was eerily reminiscent of our dating days when she'd forget her key and wait pitifully for me to come home. But now she felt like a complete stranger. Sincere. Victoria stood up and walked towards me, her eyes filled with lingering affection. "I'm sorry, I truly wronged you," I said flatly. There's no point in saying these things now. It does matter. I've been reflecting constantly these past few days. Actually, the one I still love is you. My feelings for Ethan were just novelty. From the beginning to the end, the only person I ever wanted to marry was you. Victoria spoke urgently. "Sincere, can you forgive me? Just give me one chance, just one. Nothing else really happened between Ethan and me." I stared at her, bewildered. In her eyes, did she think I was incapable of finding another woman? Whether anything had happened between them or not, it had nothing to do with me anymore. "Victoria, there's no need for this. We broke up. It's over." Tears instantly streamed down Victoria's face. She shook her head desperately. "Sincere, I know. I was blind. I hurt you because of that animal, Ethan, but I know I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. I've thought it all through. Didn't you always hope we would get married? Let's go get the license right now, get married tomorrow. Starting today, I'll return to the family, have your baby, be a good wife and mother, okay?" Her eyes brimmed with tears as she looked at me with fervent hope. It was as if this was the greatest wish of her life, and if I agreed, she would faint from sheer happiness. Unfortunately, I still shook my head. If there's nothing else, I'm going inside. With that, without giving her another glance, I went straight home and closed the door. In the following days, Victoria constantly tried to approach me. Wherever I appeared, she would show up, initiating conversation. When my sister Catherine heard about this, she immediately sent her best friend to act as my protector. Ostensibly, it was to help me get rid of Victoria, but I knew my sister was actually trying to set me up with this friend. Her name was Lynn Scott. Lynn was a woman who carried herself with a strong sense of justice. According to my sister, she had never been in a relationship, a thoroughly no-nonsense kind of woman. She was completely different from the gentle type like Victoria. Yet, strangely, I found that in daily life, being with a woman like Lynn felt very easy and comfortable. After spending 3 months together, I took the initiative to confess my feelings, and Lynn and I officially became a couple. When Victoria found out about this, she went to a bar and drank all night. She ended up with alcohol poisoning and was taken to the hospital by friends. They called me to come, but I just hung up. The next day, I received a tearful, complaining call from Victoria. "I forbid you from being with another woman, Sincere. I love you. I have nothing left now. Why do you have to keep hurting me like this? Why?" She cried, begged, and cursed. I had little patience for it and ended the call. Sometime later, Ethan was released from the police station. As soon as he got out, someone ambushed him, threw a sack over his head, and beat him up. He was cursed and insulted wherever he went. He blamed Victoria for all of this, stormed into her home, and the two got into a physical fight. I only learned about this whole fiasco later. During this period, I had published a significant paper, making a solid name for myself in the industry. My career was flourishing. My relationship with Lynn also grew stronger. We met each other's parents and began making plans for marriage. On the day of our engagement party, my sister Catherine smiled and told me, "This time, you finally found the right person. Just focus on building a stable family life from now on." Yes, if Victoria had truly been the right person, we would have been married long ago. But thankfully, we didn't get married. Otherwise, I might be divorced by now. Chapter 10. Next, we began preparing for the wedding. Somehow, the media got wind of the news. On the wedding day, they were already waiting outside the hotel. They all knew about my past history with Victoria. Now that I was marrying someone else, it was another hot news story they could capitalize on. On the wedding day, just as Lynn and I exchanged rings and shared a kiss, suddenly I heard someone scream. Even my sister Catherine was staring at her phone, her face filled with horror. After we came down from the stage, I was about to ask what was wrong, but my sister, pale-faced, stammered, "Sincere, Victoria. She. I frowned, confused. What happened? After a long pause, my sister choked out, "Victoria. She's dead." My heart jolted inexplicably. Later, I learned the full story. Ethan, after his release, suffered immensely from the online harassment. His life became unbearable, and he developed an intense hatred for me. He decided to ruin me on my wedding day and procured a bottle of concentrated sulfuric acid. Victoria found out about his plan and desperately tried to stop him, risking her own life. During their struggle, Ethan threw the concentrated sulfuric acid onto Victoria. It all happened suddenly. Ethan, possibly suffering a manic episode, didn't call for help immediately. It wasn't until Victoria stopped breathing that she was discovered. Ethan was arrested and charged with intentional homicide. Hearing about these harrowing events filled my heart with an indescribable fear, and also a sense of gratitude towards Victoria for sacrificing her life to save mine. I ended the wedding reception early. Along with my sister and Lynn, I went to help arrange Victoria's funeral affairs. As Victoria was being buried, I felt a sense of unreality. Victoria, the woman who had shared 10 years of my youth, was truly gone. At that moment, a light, fine rain began to fall from the sky. I realized that much of the hatred, resentment, and blame I had felt seemed insignificant now, washed away with the end of a life. I don't know how long passed. The sky gradually began to clear. I took a deep breath, took Lynn's hand, and we walked away from the cemetery together. The future is long. Cherishing the present is enough. End.